Hello, and welcome to Starting Points, where one thing leads to another. In this video, I want to talk about Abraham Lincoln. But the first book I'm going to share with you is called George Washington, Boy Leader by Augustus Stevenson. Now, I've spoken about this book in the previous video, but the childhood of Washington is such a contrast to the childhood of Abraham Lincoln, in that he lives on a big estate. He's got money in background, money in the family and all, and Lincoln and his family are just scraping by. Their childhoods are quite a number of years apart, but I got thinking that a lot of books about people talk and write about the people as an adult, and that's all well and good. But what I liked about these two books is that they gave me an insight to them, not as, quote, a child, but as somebody who's learning and thinking about life, the way things work, developing values and that will later be important in as they are adults. And that's why, for me, schooling was so important, that you are helping to expose and to create an environment where a young person can learn about things, can try things in some safety. And so both these books by Augustus Stevenson, I think for adults, was an eye-opening. In fact, with George Washington, I was going to do another couple of more videos just reading passages from them, but I'll just spare you that and tell you that they're quite neat view. Now, here's something where you'd jump from a child's world to an adult's world. The Killer Angels by Michael Shera. And a friend told me about this book, and I recommended it. And I found it fascinating. It's not trying to cover all of the Civil War. It's taken one battle scenes, one coming together of the forces, and writing about it in depth. It is a novel. Now, of course, once Gettysburg was over, we get the Gettysburg Address. Just a Few Words, Mr. Lincoln, by Jean Fritz. There's my old friend Jean Fritz, and she can, with a few words herself, create character, create a personality, and 271 words in Abraham Lincoln's speech. In fact, it's in the back. That's what it amounts to. And the keynote speaker the one who they postponed it because he needed more time to prepare his speech, was a person who was noted to be somewhat long-winded, perhaps a bit like old Larry here. Edward Everett. They asked him to speak on October 23rd, and he asked for an extension till November 19th, and he went on for hours. And the value Lincoln puts in his family, in his sons. This is a little book I just stumbled on and called Allan Pinkerton. Now, I'd heard about Allan Pinkerton, the first private eye, and this is by Lavera Anderson, and I learned lots about how he first got started, how he went about things, and seemingly just by chance. He was a barrel maker from Scotland, and he becomes so good at solving things that he starts his own detective agency called Pinkerton Detective Agency. And Chapter 5, guarding Abraham Lincoln. On a cold February morning in 1861, Allen sat at his desk reading a letter from one of his clients. It said there was talk of an assassination plot in Baltimore, Maryland. Some group was planning to kill Abraham Lincoln, newly elected President of the United States, when he passed through Baltimore on his way to Washington, D.C., to take his oath of office. Allen's face grew grave at the ugly news. It would be no use to tell Mr. Lincoln of the report, he thought. He would not believe he is in danger. He lets people crowd around him all the time, and he has no protection since there's no government police force to look after him. Allen understood Abraham Lincoln, how he would feel, because he knew the president-elect. Years earlier, Allen had worked on a robbery case for a railroad for which Mr. Lincoln had served as lawyer. The connections, the one thing leads to another. It's, I'll send some of my very best men to Baltimore, and I'll go there myself, Allen decided. If there is a plot, we'll find proof that will convince Mr. Lincoln he needs to have a guard. Well, when he gets there, he's got some ideas, and he infiltrates this group. In fact, gives them some money for their cause. And very, very interesting. And very interesting career, all captured in a small-ish book. This is a book I just came across. Again, Lincoln, the Unknown by Dale Carnegie. Now, I knew the name Dale Carnegie, but I didn't really know what he had done or anything. So I was quite fascinated when I read, and I'm going to read this one half a page here. When Lincoln turned to his cabinet, he found there were the same quarrels and jealousy that existed in the Army. Now, in the Army, who's going to be the leader here? Who's going to be the leader of several generals? Who's got top seniority? Who's got the bluster and the pushiness of that existed in the Army? Well, Seward, Secretary of State, regarded himself as a premier, snubbed the rest of the cabinet. meddled in their affairs, and aroused deep resentment. Chase, Secretary of the Treasury, despised Seward, detested General McClellan, hated Stanton, Secretary of War, and loathed Blair, the Postmaster General. Blair, in turn, went around kicking over beehives, as Lincoln put it, and boasting that when he went in for a fight, he went in for a funeral. He denounced Seward as an unprincipled liar and refused to have any dealings with him whatsoever. And as for Stanton and Chase, he wouldn't consent even to speak of those scoundrels, not even at a cabinet meeting. Blair went in for so many fights that finally he went in for his own funeral. As far as politics was concerned, the hatred that he aroused was so fiery and widespread that Lincoln had to ask him to resign. There was hatred everywhere in the cabinet. The vice president, Hannibal Hamlin, wouldn't speak to Gideon Welles, Secretary of the Navy, and Welles, topped with an elaborate wig and decorated with a vast growth of white whiskers, kept a diary, and from almost every page of it he hurls the shafts of his ridicule and contempt at well nigh all his colleagues. Wow, amazing. This book I'd had for quite some time, and I got around to read it when I was thinking of doing this. This is an amazing, amazing novel. I can't tell you how I was impressed by this book. Irene Hunt, Across 5 Aprils. So it is a novel. It's based on a family that lives in Illinois, and several generations, and the area, the farmers. One son goes to fight for the South. Well, that upsets people because, well, the father didn't try to dissuade him. If this is how you feel, then I support what you want. There are some depictions of descriptions of some battles, but they're in the form of a letter, so they're kept short, and it just gives a feel on multi-layers, This book is dealing with what's going on in the White House. It's called An Unlikely Friendship, a novel of Mary Todd Lincoln and Elizabeth Keighley. Now, Elizabeth, a lot of the book is devoted to Elizabeth, and rightly so, because she ends up being a seamstress, and she becomes a seamstress for Mary Todd, who likes her clothes, and that's Anne Rinaldi. So we had our good friend Jean Fritz, and we've got Anne Rinaldi. What more can I ask for? I've got another good friend coming up, but before I get to that friend, Undying Glory. I had never heard anything at all about this. Not that this is a topic area that draws me particularly, but the story of the Massachusetts 54th Regiment by Clinton Cox. The things that are described in this book, I think it's meant for younger people, but I think it would overwhelm some younger people. And Yet it gives me a fuller picture of the times. I said there was another friend, Patricia Polacco. I love this woman's books. She's written about so many, many things. She's the artist, so she's multi-talented, and she's got stories to tell. She lives in Michigan, and this story, Pink and Say, is about a friendship that develops between these two. And the, well, it's just an amazingly, in a small space with these amazing paintings, there's so much packed. Well, thanks for joining me. Until next time, bye for now.